I've been using the Nintendo Switch 2 for just over a month now, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how much I've been enjoying it. Disclaimer, I'm not going to be diving into all the specs and the techie stuff in this video. I'm simply just going to tell you guys what I like about the console and what I don't like so that you can decide whether it's worth investing in. So let's talk about some things I really like. The Switch 2 has a noticeably bigger screen, but it still feels very lightweight and portable. I've used it in handheld mode for over 3 hours in one sitting, and at no point did the console start to feel heavy. The new Joy-Cons are also noticeably bigger and magnetic. They do now have the ability to act as mouses or mice. I'm yet to play any games that actually utilize this feature, but the Nintendo Welcome Tour does allow you to try it out. Storage for the Switch 2 also got a bump, so the base model now starts at 256 gigabytes. And it sounds like a lot, but really and truly the Switch 2 games are larger, so that's not really much storage. But the good thing is you can get a micro SD express card for your Switch 2, which will allow you to download more games. You cannot use your SD card from your old Switch because it's not compatible with the Switch 2. Now, another thing I've been loving about the Switch 2 is the new eShop. The Nintendo eShop on the Switch 2 is 1,000 times better. It opens in seconds and there's little to no lag. There's also this new section that gives you game recommendations once a week based on the games you currently play. This feature is one of my favorite things that I've discovered so far, just because the recommendations have been surprisingly accurate. The Switch 2 is also backwards compatible, so you can play your Switch 1 games, and the Switch 1 Joy-Cons also work with the Switch 2, so you don't have to think about buying a whole new set of Joy-Cons, which is great because they're not cheap. Now, the Switch 2 has a new USB Type-C port on the top of the console, so there's now 2 in total. I think the main use for the top port is connecting a webcam whilst the Switch is docked. However, it will be nice to be able to charge the Switch whilst playing in tabletop mode. Another thing I've been loving is Mario Kart World. This game is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2 and it's highly addictive. I typically play Grand Prix. I'm yet to try playing online simply because I'm not great at Mario Kart in general and I don't fancy coming in 20th place just yet. I'm just not ready for that. I've also been really enjoying the free roam option in Mario Kart World, which essentially gives you the option to roam the map freely. There are little things you can do like collect coins and play mini challenges and unlock stickers, but ultimately my favorite thing about free roam is this massive truck that you can drive into and run over cars with. The first time I played Mario Kart World, I spent a good 20 minutes looking for this truck. Last thing I've been loving is the fact that when docked, you can play in up to 4K resolution, which is quite the jump from 1080p resolution from the previous Switch, and there is a very noticeable difference. Now let's talk about the price. Whilst I think the Switch 2 is worth the investment, understandably, a lot of people do not want to spend £400, and sometimes just months after purchasing, they get bored of the console and forget about it and it ends up in a landfill. But that's where Raylo comes in. Raylo is a smarter and more affordable way to try out tech like the Nintendo Switch 2, iPad mini, or even the Switch 1. Instead of paying up front, Raylo gives you the option to get the latest tech, new or refurbished, and pay monthly. All you have to do is choose your product, pick a term, and get it delivered. There's no massive upfront cost, and if you're on the monthly rolling subscription, you have the option to cancel at any time. At the time of this video, you can get a Nintendo Switch 2 along with Mario Kart World for as little as £14.99 per month and get it the next working day. At the end of your subscription, you have the option to upgrade, return, or keep your device. If you want to get the Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart World through Raylo, or even a new iPhone, a PS5, a Samsung tablet or more, I've added a link in the description and in the comments. Thank you Raylo for sponsoring this video. Now let's get into some things about the Switch 2 that I'm not very fond of. 1. The battery life for the Switch 2 is supposedly 2 to 6.5 hours. When I first got my Switch 2, I could only get about an hour and a half of Mario Kart World gameplay before the Switch would die. Nintendo did release some guidance regarding this issue, so I did follow the steps to boot my Switch into recovery mode, and it's been fine since. Now I get, I'd say, a maximum of 4 hours of Mario Kart World playtime, which isn't horrible, but I do think it could be much better. I play almost all my games on max brightness, so I'm sure if you decrease the brightness or turned on auto, you could get more playtime. I also did have this really weird issue of my eShop freezing every time I went to click on like manage my membership. But since I booted my Switch into recovery mode, I haven't had that issue. So I don't like the pricing of Switch 2 games. The bundle price for Mario Kart World works out to about £35 for the game, but the game is £79 standalone, which just is not worth it in my opinion. I already disliked paying nearly £40 for Mario Wonder, Mario vs Donkey Kong, Super Mario Odyssey. I've never really been the biggest Mario game fan, so that could be why I don't think the price is worth it, to be fair. Luckily, a lot of the games that I actually enjoy are typically £30 or less, like Faith Farm, Stardew Valley, Lemon Cake, A Little to the Left, Unpacking, and they all go on sale frequently. So another thing I dislike when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2, charging £10 for the welcome tour is absolutely absurd. The welcome tour essentially shows you how to use the Switch 2 and all its features through mini games. If we're being honest, this quote-unquote game should have been free. It should have come with the Switch 2 the same way most products come with manuals. I paid it at the end of the day, so I can't really complain too much, but I don't think it's worth it. You do learn a lot about the Switch 2 through the game, but I just think it's unfair that it costs money to learn more about the console that you've already paid for. Another thing that I've not been very happy with is the lack of accessories for the Switch 2. In all fairness, it is a new console, so I'm sure new and nice accessories are coming soon, but there's just not really much yet, almost 2 months after launch. I did 3D print this Switch 2 dot cover. Elegoo did send me a 3D printer, so the first thing I did after testing was print this cover, and it came out so cute. I love it. I am hoping we get some white Joy-Cons in the near future, but in the meantime I got this skin from D-Brand, and I got these thumb grips from Geekshare on Amazon. Same with the charm on my Switch as well. Links to everything will be in the description box. But overall, I love the Switch 2. I haven't touched my OLED in weeks. For me personally, the pros outweigh the cons. I'd just like to see some improvements made to the battery life and just some new cute accessories on the market. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it helps you decide whether or not you want to get a Switch 2. The link for Raylo will be in the description box, along with other useful links from this video. Do let me know in the comments what games you play on your Switch, because I'm always looking for something new to play, and I will see you in the next video.